Folks, good evening and welcome back to the Snakebite. I'm John Christovich with James Simpson saying thank you so much for tuning in with us here at FSC TV. Another busy week in moccasin athletics. We'll tell you all about it. Here's this week's edition of the Snakebite. Like I mentioned, busy week in Mocs athletics. A couple actions on the diamonds, baseball, softball, and of course, men's and women's lacrosse. Let's take a look at our weekly rundown of scores here. And as you see on your screen there, a lot of victories, a couple of tough losses for the Moccasins, but it seems like it was about time the way they've been winning as of late. So go ahead and pause, take a look at your screen there, and those are our scores for this week. So let's go ahead and kick things off with men's lacrosse, which is rolling now on a 4-game win streak.
That's right. Their team had just one game last week, earning the victory over Flagler College to win their 4th straight, moving to 6-2 in the process. In the win, Florida Southern posted their 2nd most goals in program history, beating the Saints 28-8. They've been an offensive powerhouse over the course of the last month, and a big reason why is due to Sean Nolan's play, as he leads the team, most recently scoring 6 goals in the win. The team ranks first in all of Division II among a few statistical categories, including scoring offense, caused turnovers per game, ground balls per game, and points per game. They're ranked 16th in the country heading into the conference opener tomorrow evening at Lynn University.
Yeah, it should be a really good test for the Mocs, James. As you said, they have been absolutely rolling here these last few weeks. They're going to head on the road for the first time in over a month and a half as they begin SSC play. Let's take a look at the women's lacrosse team now, which is 8-1 on the season after falling to Bentley University this past weekend to end their season opening win streak. It was a phenomenal lacrosse game that saw the Mocs fall 17-16 in overtime as Florida Southern slipped to number 6 in the country after the defeat. In the senior day outing, Gianna Murphy posted 5 goals while Haley Dalio and Madison Terre both notched a hat trick despite the loss. The gang will look to get back on the right track this Saturday afternoon when they take on another ranked opponent in number 24, Colorado Mesa University.
The beach volleyball team earned a split during its tri-match against Stevenson University and St. John's River Community College on Saturday. The Mocs opened up the day by falling to Stevenson 3-2, but bounced back quickly to beat St. John's River 3-2. Sarah Crocker and Ashley McKenney, Haley St. Martin and Christina Ramazio, and Madeline Sanders and Chloe Maxwell picked up the wins on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th courts for the victory. And coming up this weekend, the Mocs will head to Bradenton for a matchup against State College of Florida on Friday and will then travel to St. Petersburg to battle it out with some SSC competition against both Eckerd College and Palm Beach Atlantic on Saturday.
Well, good to see those Sandy Mocs back in the win column, James. Well, the softball team is coming back from a road trip against top-ranked University of Tampa, where they lost all 3 games to the in-conference rival. First by mercy rule, but in the second game, it was a much closer finish. The Mocs went down 4-5 in that one. Mocs will be back in action today for a doubleheader against West Georgia. They're looking to bounce back from their recent skid of 4 straight losses. After facing West Georgia, the Mocs are going into a crucial stretch of 9 in-conference games, beginning with a home series against St. Leo. They currently sit 7th in the SSC, the Moccasins do, with a 5-7 in-conference record. In other news, interesting news out of the athletic department this morning, it was announced that women's soccer head coach Paul Lawrence has stepped down from his role after 6 years with the program. This past fall, Lawrence led the Moccasins to their best season in program history, stunning the rest of the Sunshine State by winning the program's first SSC regular season championship after the team was picked to finish last in the preseason poll. The program then went on to get their first ever win in the NCAA regional tournament later that season. His accomplishments were certainly recognized by his peers as he was named the 2022 SSC Coach of the Year in women's soccer. And the athletic department says a national search for a new head women's soccer coach will begin immediately.
It was a tough week for Moccasin baseball as the team saw their 14-game win streak come to a close and is what has now turned into a 4-game skid. After falling to Indiana of Pennsylvania last Wednesday, Florida Southern dropped all 3 contests at home to the number 2 ranked University of Tampa Spartans. The games were each competitive as the Spartans took game 1 in extra innings, while the other 2 were tightly contested heading into the final couple innings. The Mocs are still having an excellent season at 18-6 so far and are ranked in the top 25 teams nationally. There were a lot of great highlights from that series against Tampa, and they'll continue their conference schedule this weekend when they'll travel on the road to take on St. Leo in a 3-game series.
Well, can't get back in the win column if you don't lose a couple. So same holds true for the men's tennis team, as they remained hot last week, adding more wins to their record, continued climbing the ITA tennis rankings. They moved up to 20th in the rankings as a complete team, while the duo of 𝙏𝙃𝙀 and Matteo Feghi moved up as the 6th ranked doubles pairing in the country to continue their strong season. A close 4-3 victory over Thomas Jefferson University brought their win streak to 8 in a row, and then a dominating 7-0 victory over Bentley made it 9 straight for the men on the courts in what has been a dominating season so far. Unfortunately, their win streak ended with a 5-2 loss at home to Washburn University, as they couldn't find the rhythm in singles competition after taking some tough losses in doubles play. The resilient Moccasins will look to fight and bounce back ahead of a tough string games coming up when they take on Palm Beach Atlantic at home this Saturday in SSC competition.
On a similar note, the women's tennis team featured some great highs with a couple of hiccups this past week. The Lady Mocs were able to claim their 10th and 11th wins in a row this past week as they defeated Bentley with a 7-0 shutout and earned a 4-3 win over number 36, University of Nebraska-Kearney, which the women swept all 3 doubles courts before battling it out in singles competition to claim the win. After falling to number 5, Nova Southeastern, they look to return to their winning ways after a week-long break from competition and some much-needed rest when they face PBA at home this Saturday at the Winnie Worden Tennis Center, looking to kickstart another win streak.
In golf news, we saw sophomore Clay Tucker finish 2nd overall at this year's Bobcat Invitational. He shot 4 under par at the 2-day event, just 1 stroke off the lead. Moccasins as a whole finished in 4th place as Tyler Mistretta and Max Baril both had solid second days to keep the Mocs in the top 5 of the 15 very talented teams at the tournament. On the women's side, the team took 9th place in a competitive field at the Buccaneer Invitational, hosted by Barry, as Lauren Perez paced the team with her 15th place individual finish. Quickly, the season is winding down for both squads, as the men are going to compete at Miami Shores in the first week of April, while the women travel to Boca Raton as they close out their regular seasons. Boy, SSC play is right around the corner.
I know it'll be interesting to see how those golf teams do. Historically great on a national level. The men's and women's track teams, speaking of historic, had a historic night at the UNF River City Spring Break Classic. Sophomore Emma Musanti, Moose, kicked off the historic night for the Mocs in the 5K with a school record time of 17:24, a 21-second PR. The men's team also ran some incredible times as freshman Christian Giller became the 2nd fastest individual 10K runner in school history with a time of 31 minutes and 13 seconds, just 14 seconds off of the freshman record held by Mason Jones, who we don't have to remind you was a national qualifier in the 10K last year. Freshman Kayla Brady ran the true freshman record in steeplechase, running a time of 9 minutes and 40 seconds, just a second off of the freshman record currently held by Brady Zimmerman, who ran the time as a redshirt freshman. Kayla Brady, along with the rest of the men's and women's teams, will be racing at the UCF Knights Invite on the 24th and 25th of March, looking for more records to break.
It's incomprehensible, man. I don't know how anybody could run that fast, much less a moose. Either way, that brings us to our Week in Mocs History segment, and today we're looking at March 21st, 1981, potentially the most historic day in Moccasin athletics history. That's when the men's basketball team beat Mount St. Mary's by a final score of 73-68, winning their first national title in program history. In the win, Michael Hayes posted a double-double, while John Ebling led the team with 29 points. Ebling, who was named an All-American in 3 consecutive years in his time as a Moccasin, was joined in the record books this past week by Jaden Booth, who was named an All-American by the NABC on Monday. In addition, both Booth and E.J. D'Amberville received all-region honors for their performances this year from both the NABC and the D2 CCA. Jaden Booth becoming just the 15th Moccasin in men's basketball history to become an NABC All-American. Of course, that team fell just short of making the national tournament this year, but their SSC rival, Nova Southeastern, headed to the Final Four. They take on Cal State San Bernardino tomorrow night for a chance to go to the championship game. Something to watch anyways. Well, that'll do it for this week's edition of the Snakebite. John Kristovich with James Sensen saying thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next Wednesday at 5.